My name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and today we're doing our regular monthly update. What am I sowing and what am I growing? So first I'm going to show you the stuff that I've got growing that's not yet ready for harvest. If you want to see the stuff that we're harvesting, then just look at one of the tours. So I just did a tour at the end of January that covers all of that, and then I'll show you the stuff that we've got growing and we've just sown in January and see where that's up to. And then I'll get you on the computer and I'll show you all the stuff that we're going to be sowing in February. So in the polytunnel we've got lots of Romanesco cauliflower, and I think we've got about 10 of those at various different stages. 15 Calabrese, again 2 or 3 different successional sowings of those, and nice little cabbages. And we've got about another 10 cauliflowers, again at various different successional sowings of those. And we've got some that we just sowed. I'll show you those at home. So we've just started putting the supports in for the peas. We've got 3 tubs of peas, 3 tubs of October sown carrots, which are doing pretty well, 2 tubs of January sown carrots, which we germinated in the conservatory at home, and as soon as they germinated we brought them to the polytunnel, but even so they're still a little bit leggy. And we've brought all of the early strawberries into the polytunnel as well. I've got a nice bed of lamb's lettuce outside. A few of the cold frames now have got peas all the way along the back wall where they get plenty of sun, but they're really nicely shaded. And then all the cold frames, not all the cold frames, but quite a lot of the cold frames are now interplanted with cauliflowers and early red cabbages. And I've got 2 beds of spinach. This is the least mature one, and I've got 2 cold frames full of radishes, and I've got some in the greenhouse as well. This one's interplanted with perpetual spinach and the other one's with spring onions. I've got winter radishes, got 6 beds of overwintering lettuces that are not ready for harvest yet, as well as probably another 6 or so that we are harvesting. And in the mini greenhouse we've got lots of brassicas which are overwintered as well, and they're going to be planted. Most of those will go into the lettuce beds in the polytunnel, but some of them will end up in cold frames and some will end up under fleece outside. The overwintered cauliflowers here, the overwintered broccolinis here, and some more overwintered Calabrese, all waiting to be planted out. A whole load of Romanesco cauliflowers along the top, little bunches of sprouts which will be grown on for leaves, early leaves, and then sprout tops. And if you pinch the sprout tops out early, you do get some sprouts in about May-June time. And this is the first batch of the stir-on spring onions, and they'll be interplanted with lettuces. And then there's some lettuces here. These are January planted. No, actually no, these are December planted. And then we've got just a few lettuces just to fill in any gaps that open up. And then we've got the onions and the garlic, elephant garlic, and yeah, more garlic. And the very last thing that we've got on the allotment that we're not harvesting are the broad beans and the broad beans. I think is pretty much it for the allotment, and so everything else I'll show you at home. Okay, so I'm home now, and what have I got? So I've got some leeks growing here, and these are just going to be for baby leeks. And I've got some bolt hardy beetroot, so this is my first sowing of beetroot this year, and these will always inevitably be a bit leggy, just plant them deep. And I've got some hungry gack kale, and this is a variety that won't bolt in the early season. My second successional sowing of stir-on onions. And now on to the tomatoes. Now it's not a great time to sow tomatoes, so I don't recommend it in January, but I have done a few red robin and a few yellow delight and a few tumbling tom reds. And then there's some more leeks. I almost forgot, these need a bit of water, but these are cuttings from my red robin tomatoes that I took in January, and these are tomatoes that germinated in the polytunnel in October-November time, which I just transplanted. So I don't know, just a bit of fun. Then we've got a few brassicas. So these are kale Nero. These are dazzling blue kales. So they're like a kale Nero, they're a cross. I've got some mini Savoy cabbages. I've got some cauliflower all year round. And then I've got some more dazzling blue and some more kale Nero. So that is about it for the seedlings sown in January. So let's get on to the potatoes. Okay, so these are my best chitted potatoes, and these are Charlottes that I saved from last year. And I've always found that Charlottes grow really nicely in the early spring, late winter and early spring, provided they don't get any frost. So I planted some of those in January, just breaking through the top of the tubs. So I'm really pleased with those. And those will be going to the polytunnel in about a week's time, and then they'll live under fleece. My next batch of potatoes are Swifts, and they're chitting pretty well, and I've got another batch of those in pots as well. And if you can see, these are just breaking through in their pots as well, but the pots haven't been filled up because I don't have enough compost, so I'm actually going to fill these up this afternoon, and they should break through in another couple of weeks, and then they'll go to the polytunnel. And then every 2 weeks basically I'm planting 3 containers of potatoes from now on, basically until, well, August time probably, when I do the Christmas potatoes. And yeah, I germinate these, or I suppose let's say germinate them in the conservatory or in a cool upstairs bedroom, and they do really well. And as I say, then they just move to the polytunnel or Jennie's shed or the little greenhouse, basically anywhere that I can keep them frost free. For completeness, I've got my ginger in here, and we've never grown ginger before, but the theory is you put the ginger in the compost, you moisten it, and then you let it dry out, and then you don't water it again until you see shoots. So we'll see how that goes. And I've also got some gooseberry hardwood cuttings, which I took in November. I'm kind of pleased to see that a few of them have taken anyway, and maybe some of the others will as well. We'll see. I think I can see at least 4 or 5 that are taken there. So I thought I'd just briefly talk about what I'm sowing in February. Now, my favoured sowing date in February is probably the middle, and I'll be sowing quite a lot. And it's not that I really need, it's not that it's the optimum time to sow, because for most things you may as well just wait till March, but it's space for me. I just don't have enough windowsill space, grow room space and polytunnel space to sow everything at the optimum times. So anyway, I'll show you how I'm doing it. Now, there's been a lot of interest in what I'm sowing, and so I've set up a website that you can go to, and so everything you see in the next few minutes, there'll be links in the description, and you can go to the website and you can have a look and browse it at your leisure. So please check out the description, and in the comments just let me know whether that's working for you. I think it only works with a desktop web browser, so it won't work if you're on a phone or a TV or something. But yeah, if you're on a Mac or a Windows PC or anything like that, then the website should work really nicely. So anyway, let me know how that goes, and let's take a look. Okay, so we're on the computer now, and I just want to say that everything you're going to see from now on is all linked in the description. You'll be able to see these databases, you'll be able to take copies of the databases and all that sort of thing, and reuse them for your own purposes, and you can look at mine. So we'll start off just with a quick skim through what we sowed in January. So we sowed carrots in big containers. We germinated those in the conservatory and moved them to the allotment. We sowed lots of radishes, also in containers. They're all germinated and all planted out now. We sowed loads of brassicas and leeks, and they've all germinated nicely, and onions and beetroot. We sowed our first batch of potatoes, and they've broken through now, and we sowed loads of tomatoes, just on the off chance that we get some nice early ones, and we planted a few trees. So let's just have a look at what failed in January. So one of the cabbage varieties is red fugo, which is a really early, nice red cabbage. Sowed about 12 seeds, I think, and only 2 of them, I think, germinated, and neither of them look very healthy. So I don't think I'll end up planting any of that batch. I will try another batch in February. Sun Gold tomatoes had some seeds left over from last year. They didn't germinate. Tumbling Tom Yellows, they didn't germinate. The Tumbling Tom Reds all germinated. And one I was quite excited about, Leedy, none of those germinated. So I will try another batch of those in February, but a bit disappointing. But fortunately, bought all of them off Amazon, so I can get my money back. Okay, so what am I going to sow in February? Well, I think onions are an obvious contender. Germinate those on a cool windowsill at home. They will all be out of the way before I need those windowsills for stuff that I'll sow in the middle of February. It'll only take a couple of weeks to get those germinated, and then they'll move to the polytunnel and they'll grow on in the cool of the polytunnel. So I'm going to do onion stir on. I'll do most of those I'm doing at the moment for bunching onions or salad onions, whatever you call them. But then I'm going to do a batch of main crops. I'm going to do Red Baron, Red Brunswick, and a few Elisa Craig. And I'll do lots of Zebrun shallots, which have been fantastic, really kept well and really nice. I'll do another batch of those in March. I'll do another batch of Bolt Hardy beetroot. I'm only sowing small amounts at the moment because it's not ideal planting time really for beetroot. Best time is March onwards. I am going to do an early batch, a very early batch of French beans. They will grow on in the conservatory, and they'll go to the allotment probably about mid-March and be protected with a bit of fleece. I'm going to do a big batch of alderman peas, and those will be grown for pea shoots, which I use in smoothies and salad mixes. And I'm going to do 2 hearting lettuces. I'm going to do Moon Red, which is a lovely red hearting lettuce with a bit of green as well. I'm going to do Valdar because I like some crunch in my lettuces. So as soon as possible, I want to get some crunch into those mixes. I'm going to try some more of those red cabbages. I'm going to do some sprouts. Now, these aren't sprouts that are going to be harvested in sort of November through February time. These are sprouts that are going to be harvested in May, June time. So they'll be planted in the polytunnel, and some of them will be planted out on the fleece a little bit later on in the garden. And I'll pinch or cut the sprout tops off. I'll eat those sprout tops, and that'll stimulate early sprouts. And so if last year was anything to go by, I should have some really nice, quite loose but good sized sprouts in May, June time. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll just re-sow these Tumbling Tom Yellow and some Gold tomatoes just to see if I can get anything out of those seed packets. If not, I'll just leave it to my main tomato sowing period, which will be in March. I don't really think it's worth sowing many tomatoes until March because it's just hard work keeping them alive and keeping them healthy when you sow them too early. But it's worth having a few, and I've got about 12 plants at the moment that I'm growing on. And then, so most of my peppers though, and I've got a really nice range of peppers, most of them from Wilco 25p seeds, but also these Napier and Lipstick, which are extra early varieties. Another big batch of radishes, because we'll soon be picking huge quantities of salad, and we always like to have radishes in our salad mixes. And radishes do really well at this time of year, provided you get them germinated, and obviously you need to do that in the warm. They will just about germinate outside, but you'll be waiting for weeks, whereas if you germinate them on the windowsill at home, you know, it only take a few days. And yeah, I'm still sowing a wide variety of different types of radishes just to see which ones do best. But definitely French breakfast will do fine, and I really like those. They're so mild at this time of year. And seeing the earlier part of the video, I've got lots of marathon calabrese, but I'm going to sow some more batches of those. And oh yeah, these graffiti purple cauliflowers, they're really lovely. So I'll get a nice batch of those in, and some more kale Nero, and some turnip greens. And I will sow just a couple of cucumbers. I'll sow a couple of Fem Spot and a couple of Ladiva, just because it's nice to have some early cucumbers. I don't tend to buy cucumbers. We're pretty much self-sufficient in veg, so you know, we only really eat cucumbers that we've grown. So getting some early ones is a real treat. But they're hard to keep alive, so I'm not going to sow too many. And then my main lettuce sowing, or the first sowing of the year, and these are the lettuces that will replace the ones that we sowed in September. So we've been harvesting those October, November, December, January, February, and these will start to take over in March and April. Some Lobjoits, some Optima, some Navara, some Grenoble Red, some Marvel of All Seasons, and some Bijou, and some Roxy. So that's a really nice variety there. And to those salad mixes, we'll add some Solid Rocket and some spinach Amazon. Amazon spinach is really nice, I think, in the salad mixes, picked small. We've got two big beds of spinach already growing on the little hoop tunnels, but those will be large leaves for cooking. And then also a big, you know, about 200 seeds of carrots will get sowed, and again, those are for just baby carrots that we'll be picking in May for the salad mixes. And so that is pretty much it for February. And so again, you can just check that out, look in the description, all the details are there. And there'll also be a link to everything that I've sown so far. So this is everything that I sowed in January. And then finally, there'll be a link to my master sowing log. And this has got masses of information in it. All of the quantities that I've sown, the dates that I've sown them, where I've sown them, the germination dates, the date that I planted them, where I planted them, everything. And you know, if you check this out later on in the year, there'll be the first harvest dates, the last harvest dates, how long it took for them to germinate, how long they stayed in plugs, how long they were planted actually out in the soil, how many days to the first harvest, yeah, harvest photos, problems that I had, etc., etc. And again, if you're interested in using any of these databases, there'll be a link to a video that explains the databases, shows you where to get them, and all of that sort of thing. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to have some feedback, especially things that you think are fantastic to sow at this time of year. Any hints or tips about how to get the best from early fruit and veg. And yeah, so anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon.